Hi, everybody. It's me, Jonathan Betzler of the No Name Cinema Society. And every year we do a little vlog around World Series time, discussing the World Series of the year that we're studying. This year, of course, we're studying 1998. You've been seeing our posts on, Instagram and maybe a video or two on YouTube where we talk about the films of 1998. So we're studying 1998 as a whole. So a little fun little tidbit about the World Series. This year's World Series, of course, features the Texas Rangers, who've never won a World Series, versus the Arizona Diamondbacks, who won once in 2001. So we'll see what happens with that. But right now, our focus is on 1998. Obviously, I've got the gear on. The Yankees would win the 1998 World Series with one of the teams that's considered one of the greatest of all time, probably second best compared to the 1927 Yankees, might be considered the best of all time. And I think the 1998 Yankees are considered second place all time. They won 114 games during the regular season, which was a record at the time, later beaten by Seattle's 116 games in 2001. But Seattle didn't make it to the World Series. They were beat by the Yankees. And so the Yankees would play the San Diego Padres. People forget this, that the Padres made their second World Series in 1998 and were the sacrificial lamb to these behemoth Yankees. The Yankees would sweep them, although I remember I was at a wedding on game one, and I had to get to the television by the time it was game time. The ceremony was over. I was at the reception. I had to find a television, and I watched game one. I was a little nervous at first. Thanks to two Greg Vaughn home runs, Padres took a lead and looked like they were going to win game one, but that did not last long. It lasted until the seventh, when the Yankees had a 7-run seventh inning to take a lead that they would not relinquish. They won that first game 9-6. Tino Martinez had a grand slam in that seventh inning, and the Yankees really never looked back from there. They only trailed again throughout that whole series for one inning, a half inning, really. They were pretty dominant, with the players that are known as the core four here: Andy Pettitte, Derek Jeter, Jorge Posada, and Mariano Rivera. Mariano Rivera saved 3 games in the World Series. The MVP was one of my favorite Yankees, Scott Brosius, who's not one of their huge names. They traded for him in the offseason from Oakland. He came to the Yankees, taking over Wade Boggs' spot at third base. And he was one of those everyman players, not one of those superstar Yankees that we think about. He hit 2 home runs. It was Brosius' 3-run homer in the 8th inning of Game 3 that turned that game around, off of the vaunted closer, Trevor Hoffman. I mean, these are 2 of the greatest closers of all time featured in this World Series, Trevor Hoffman versus Mariano Rivera. So that's kind of exciting. The series itself wound up being a sweep and not as exciting, except as a coronation for this one of the greatest teams in baseball history. This collection of players between Martinez, Knobloch, Jeter, and Brosius in the infield, Posada behind the plate, the pitching of Wells, El Duque, Orlando Hernandez, if you don't know who El Duque is, Andy Pettitte, David Cone, some of the best Yankees. Paul O'Neill was in right, Bernie Williams still in center. Who cares who plays left field? I don't remember. I think they had a platoon. Was Chad Carter involved at this point? I don't even remember. It was a pretty special group of teams. This is in the middle of a 14-game World Series winning streak that the Yankees were on. In 1996, they won 4 straight. After losing the first 2 in 96, they won 4 straight to beat the Braves. They didn't make 97, 98. They swept the Padres. 99, swept the Braves. So it was 12 straight. And then in 2000, they won 2 straight against the Mets before losing Game 3, but eventually winning that series. 14 straight World Series game wins for these Yankees, and this is right in the middle of that stretch with this just powerhouse team that was honestly a lot of fun to watch. As dominant as they were, I guess that was boring for people that weren't fans, they were also fun to watch. These are good guys, or they seemed to be blue-collar guys that were just dominant. It was a great team, a great World Series from that point of view, if you're a fan, certainly, and certainly a team worth celebrating, which is why we're here. And don't forget our 1998 review, where we talk about the films of 1998 and the Oscar races of 1998. That's coming, on Oscar week, the week leading up to the Oscars in March. So stay tuned for that. In 2024, we wanted to celebrate the World Series by looking back at the World Series 25 years ago, where the Yankees defeated the Padres in 4 games. All right, guys. So stay tuned with on Instagram and on YouTube for updates. So this is Jonathan Betzler, and enjoy the 2023 World Series.